What's up, dudes and dudettes? This is Byron here, and welcome to another episode of Byron's Bios. Tonight, I will be reviewing another sequel, which is the one that was released very recently, and it is still currently showing in theaters, by the way. It is a sequel to the 2016 animated film, ZooTopia, and if you know what I'm talking about, you guessed it. It's ZooTopia 2. Like I said in my other bios, there might be a little bit of spoilers if you have not seen the film, but I will guarantee you, I will make this spoiler-free as much as I could. I'm sure most of us have seen it already, so yeah. But hey, without further ado, let's focus on this review. So, the plot is where it takes place after the events of the first ZooTopia film. Nick Wilde had already become a police officer and has joined Judy Hopps as her sidekick, with Jennifer Goodwin and Jason Bateman reprising their main roles, especially as them being both undercover cops, or should I say, their partners. However, their personalities create their jobs to be complicated, where they would be separated if they can't keep themselves up, as they go undercover. From discovering a piece of a shedded snakeskin to hunting down the snake that causes mischief, ZooTopia is against reptiles, and the detectives themselves figure out how the snake invaded Zootopia, how he snatched the book from the Lixley family, and meeting with others to investigate while cracking down the case. They later discover that the book is actually a journal, and the snake itself, Gary the Snake, voiced by Ke Huy Quan, is actually not a villain, spoiler alert, as he's only getting his journal back to bring his home back to its former glory. However, the Lixley family tries to hunt the detectives down as well as the snake itself out of greed, because once again, Zootopia is against reptiles. So I'm just gonna leave it here because I'll let you guys see the movie for yourselves, but you get the idea of the story. Well, I'll be honest for a sec. Everything about this sequel was just amazing. Like, I really liked how it was plot-based because not a lot of younger generations are into plot-based stories that are basically movies, TV shows, video games, and music. And like, Disney has put a lot of effort into their movies, and they're thankfully not going to stop that anytime soon. From the CGI animation to the characters that are unique, especially the voice acting, to the storyline, the background, and the setting of the film, everything they've done made the movie look so good, especially the first one. Now, for those of you that don't know, I actually did a review on ZooTopia when it was new, so if you haven't seen it, go check it out, because you can honestly tell how happy I was and how I was enforcing my emotions when I reviewed it. I'm like, I just don't even know what to say about it. One of the things I'd like to point out is the casting. Now, like, most of the roles have been reprised by the same actors as the ones from the first movie, and usually that's how it is in every single sequel. Well, almost every one of them. I liked how they casted a few actors that voiced some new characters, like Patrick Lixley, who is one of the villains of the sequel. He is voiced by, believe it or not, Macaulay Culkin. Brian Windancer, who is a muscular horse, is voiced by this voice actor named Patrick Warburton. And of course, Zeke is voiced by Dwayne Johnson, aka The Rock, who is the final boss from WWE. Those guys are already famous, and it's quite surprising how they got those roles in the sequel. There are also voice actors in the movie that portray the roles of the new characters who are unique through their preferences and race. And speaking of race, this is something I like to get into because this is very important when it comes to Zootopia. So, you know how there's racism involved in the franchise, but like the racism focuses on animals? Well, let me tell you, in the first movie, there was indeed discrimination against mammals that are like predatory, like foxes, for example. And like, Nick had a real tragic childhood where he dealt with racism, and Bellwether tried to turn several mammals savage. But with the new sequel, the racism this time focuses on reptiles, because if you have seen the movie already, Gary the Snake tells a story about how reptiles, including snakes, became Zootopia's worst enemy, and that the Lixleys caused this racial division. What the sequel caters is racial discrimination, and learning how it affects those characters is like really devastating, because when you discriminate a snake or a fox, it's like discriminating a black person, an Asian person, an opposite gender, or even someone that's neurodivergent. I think Disney did a great job navigating the racial stereotypes in animal species and how they dug deeper into different stereotypes, including but not limited to lesbian characters like Nipples and Maplestick, and the person that voices the character is actually a lesbian, and her name is Fortune Feimster, who is also a comedian. So I think they connected the actor's preference to the character really well. Now, hey there, I know it's controversial, especially since it's like a family-friendly movie, but I don't think it's that bad when it comes to adding a character that is so unique. When I was telling my mom and her fiance about it, they didn't believe me. And for some reason, they thought that the beaver itself is just a normal character who is straight, although the character is voiced by a lesbian. And to be honest, the actress herself confirmed this, so there you go. And it's interesting how other characters in Zootopia are actually lesbians, like gay couples, for example, which is also interesting because I have no problem with it. Like, I know some people do, but not me. In fact, I remember when the first movie came out, my brother was talking about Zootopia navigating topics about racism, but with animals, and I think he watched videos where people discuss those situations. And finally, let's talk about the music. They've actually done great with the music, from like the music scores to the songs. And I mean, the only song that they've made for the film is Zoo by Shakira. And like the moment I heard the song, especially how it was played twice in the film, I thought it was so groovy and upbeat that I ended up enjoying it. Overall, I'm glad that Disney had Shakira creating another song for the franchise once again, not cutting her out, just like what other movies did previously. And while I do enjoy Shakira's Try Everything that was also played twice from the first movie, I think that Zoo was a lot better than Try Everything. Because from my perspective, Try Everything is a great song, and it does have an upbeat vibe to it, but like the rhythm kind of feels a little slow. But I mean, hey, Shakira's a great singer, by the way, no offense. So credit to her. Now, I will say this. Even though there are some flaws and character similarities, like Gary the Snake, who looks quite similar to one of the characters from DreamWorks, the Bad Guys. I mean, hey, I love ZooTopia, and I have like several fans that adore it so much. And overall, I will admit that ZooTopia 2 is just as awesome as the first Zootopia movie. It is very plot-based, where it heavily focuses on the story with unique characters that people appreciate, even with comedy involved. Everybody that voiced every character did a wonderful job as who they portrayed, especially this cute little mouse that went, "Kiss my ring!" And I thought that line was so cute. In fact, I actually ordered a ring pop from the menu at the movie theater I work at, where they actually sell some menu items that are like based on the sequel, so kudos to them. I mean, this is like one of the most anticipated sequels that I was looking forward to, because not a lot of sequels these days are like that. Because I agree with a lot of fans that Zootopia deserved a sequel that they already got, and it took them 9 years to get it out there. And not to mention, there is this great message, particularly from the first movie, where they say that Zootopia is a place where you can be anything. So if you are into Zootopia, I highly recommend the sequel, and go see it at theaters while you can, or you can just wait until it comes out on DVD, Blu-ray, or digital, or on Disney Plus, because, well, trust me, you will have as much fun as I did. And like, this movie is great for all ages, as it appeals to both kids and adults alike. Also, not to mention, but there is a predecessor that promised the sequel, which is called Zootopia Better Together. It is a 3D attraction, technically 4D with a few effects, but I can tell it's a lot of fun. So if we're planning on going to Disney World soon, and if we're going to Disney's Animal Kingdom, make sure you check that out, because this seems like a fun 10-minute movie to experience that you will never forget. Well, there you have it, guys. That is my review on Zootopia 2. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Byron's Bios, and I really hope you all enjoyed this vid. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share, and I will see you in the next vid. And until then, this is me, Byron, the Multiple Interest Man, aka Byron Hazlett, signing off. Double peace.